Hello. Today I'm going to be talking about an article titled Puerto Ricans and Ultra Rich Protopians Are Locked in a Pitched Struggle Over How to Remake the Island. This was a very interesting article written by Naomi Klein and Lauren Feeney. So, basically, today we're going to delve into the aftermath of Hurricane Maria. This took place in Adjuntas, Puerto Rico, where the city had complete power outages, blocked roads, and even communication breakdowns. And during all of this chaos, Casa Pueblo, which is a community and ecology center, was seen as, like a beacon of light, both metaphorically and literally, because they sustained power through solar panels. So, Casa Pueblo underwent this remarkable transformation, evolving into a community hub for self organized relief efforts in the wake of Hurricane Maria. So, the center provided really essential services such as food, water, tarps, and they even created a makeshift field hospital, which allowed the elderly to have access to their oxygen machines. And Casa Pueblo also had its own radio station, which continued broadcasting, and that really was a crucial source of information for the community. The survival of Casa Pueblo solar panels during Hurricane Maria really highlighted a stark contrast with the broader collapse of Puerto Rico's centralized energy system. And this really brought attention to the vulnerability of the current energy infrastructure. And it really spurred calls for a rapid shift to more renewable energy sources. And this advocacy for renewable energy took center stage with a focus on microgrid models to enhance resilience in the face of future climate-related shocks. So Casa Pueblo again actively distributed solar lanterns and advocated for a significant portion, which is 50% of Puerto Rico's power, to come directly from solar energy. And here the efforts included the installation of solar panels on homes and businesses in Adjuntas, which would promote a decentralized and resilient energy landscape. So, Hurricane Maria essentially laid bare the weaknesses in Puerto Rico's dependence on imported fuels and centralized power generation. So, grassroots organizations kind of seized this moment as an opportunity for a fundamental shift towards renewable energy, democratic resource management, and addressing root causes. So then, what happened was there were two contrasting visions of Puerto Rico's future. One that focused more on privatization and attracting high net worth individuals, and the other vision was more community driven transformation. So, as I mentioned, Hurricane Maria served as a powerful teacher because it really exposed a lot of the flaws in the existing system, and it underscored the effectiveness of solar power, small organic farms, and community relationships. So, this wasn't written in the article, but the video that accompanied the article showcased that 80% of Puerto Rico's food supply is actually imported. So, this new emphasis on small organic farms was another way to combat, being extremely vulnerable in the aftermath of any potential disasters. So, the emerging movement views, this is all an opportunity for transformation, addressing systemic issues, and building a more resilient and democratic Puerto Rico. So, Casa Pueblo became the central hub for self-organized relief efforts. It provided so many, different things, as I mentioned earlier. And this central hub was, mentioned several times in the article and in the video just because of the amazing work that they did. So, obviously, after Hurricane Maria happened, a lot of the Puerto Rico energy systems collapsed or were no longer functioning. So, the article really advocated for a rapid shift to more renewable energy, and it emphasized decentralized models like microgrids, um, just to be more resilient against future climate related shocks. Then this new concept of Puertopia was introduced in the article, and this is a really good quote that is directly derived from the article. In a sense, both are utopian projects. The vision of Puerto Rico, in which the wealth of the island is carefully and democratically managed by its people, and the libertarian project some are calling Puertopia, that is being conjured up in the ballrooms of luxury hotels in San Juan and New York City, and so on. So, Protopia is mentioned a lot in the rest of the article. Um, the Proto Crypto Conference showcased Puerto Rico as a hub for blockchain and cryptocurrencies, featuring speakers like Yaron Brook, who promoted deregulation and blockchain to make Puerto Rico a financial haven. And then details on tax advantages that were offered to individuals and corporations really emphasized low corporate tax rates and personal tax benefits, which I thought was very interesting. And then coming back to the contrasting visions, right? Casa Pueblo actively contributed to the recovery efforts by having, the solar lanterns and even solar powered refrigerators. And grassroots organizations envisioned a transformed and democratic future, addressing root causes such as how dependent are we on imported fuel. They wanted to address root causes like austerity measures and colonial relationships. But contrasting visions emerged, with grassroots efforts focused more on collective sovereignty, whereas Portopia presented for a for-profit utopia, emphasizing cryptocurrency and blockchain. And the Protopia project attracted wealthy individuals with tax incentives and lifestyle bonuses, actively promoted by the Puerto Rican government as an attractive destination for crypto entrepreneurs. So you can see there was a clear contrast in the two visions. So, Protopian's plans really raised questions on what the impact would look like on local communities, culture, and environmental sustainability, and the historical context of Puerto Rico being used as a lab for various experiments would leave lasting scars on the environment and the health of its people. So, Protopians expressed ambitions beyond tax benefits. They were basically arguing that this will establish their own city with virtual currencies. But then concerns were raised about the potential environmental impact of cryptocurrency mining and the concept of turning an energy strapped island into the epicenter of this industry called crypto colonialism. Then the article dug a little deeper into the agroecological farming and resiliency practices, and basically, this promoted stronger resilience, biodiversity, and local food production. And despite the challenges, communities exhibited resilience by organizing communal kitchens, raising funds, distributing supplies, and contributing to their rebuilding efforts. And there was definitely a shift in political landscape and the grassroots efforts. Um, there was a growing desire among Puerto Rican groups to formulate their own visions for the island's future. There was a big emphasis on bottom up initiatives and community driven solutions. So that was very nice to read about. Then Naomi Klein has a concept called the shock doctrine, And she talks a little bit about a shock after shock doctrine approach, which is being implemented in Puerto Rico with attempts to push for privatization and austerity measures in the aftermath of Hurricane Maria. And there are challenges in reconstituting the pre storm anti austerity coalition, which is adding a lot of complexity to this whole situation. Um, so there are four categories of exploited shock, which are desperation, distraction, despair, and disappearance. And Puerto Ricans are facing challenges such as slow relief efforts, daily struggles, deep despair, and population displacement, with consequences extending to political engagement. Then, of course, you have relief and reconstruction challenges, including questionable contracts, delayed responses, and inadequate utilization of resources, and the impact of the Trump administration on the prolonged suffering in Puerto Rico. For example, through the delayed deployment of the USNS Comfort is discussed a lot in the article as well. So the article concludes by discussing how, or reiterating how grassroots movements are gaining momentum. Efforts in the education sector are showing the potential for full blown strikes just to resist the shock doctrine, and the overall hope is to rebuild and expand pre storm coalitions for successful resistance. And the ongoing battle between Protopians and the summit groups, advocating for deeper commitments, is ongoing. It really can go either way. And the collision between these two opposing visions is deemed to be inevitable, emphasizing the importance of determining Puerto Rico's destiny. So, my own personal thoughts on this whole article, um, it was interesting overall to read about it. Um, I definitely had questions about the broader application of decentralized renewable energy models and grassroots driven initiatives in fostering resilience in the aftermath of natural disasters. I was wondering if we could, you know, look at Puerto Rico or Hurricane Maria as a case study and create a more general model for potential future natural disasters throughout the world. So, I thought it was um, very intriguing to learn about the real aftermath of Hurricane Maria from the locals themselves. And general thoughts on the article was I thought the storytelling was very strong and effective, and there was a lot of in depth analysis. Um, a couple of things I just, not necessarily negative feedback, but I did think the complexity of the article was quite high. It took me a few rounds to read and fully understand. And what helped a lot was to watch the, I think, 15 or 18-minute video that came with it. That kind of put a lot of things into context. If I were to uh, maybe give one suggestion for this article, maybe some more data based visual aids would have been useful. There were some very beautiful and stark images in the article, but there weren't, graphs or data tables, which might have helped, especially with the cryptocurrency discussion. With that, I really apologize for my voice and the lack of emotion I'm showing. I hope that when I see you all in person next week, I will be back to normal. Thank you so much for your attention, and I look forward to discussing with you at a later time. Thanks.